Smart contractors hire specialized team. Rank high on Google, hook better leads. Hookagency.com.
Yo, how you guys doing? I am, talking about de-indexing thin and duplicate content today, and how funny it is that we just had somebody duplicate us. Now, hey, that's not that crazy, but somebody out there is selling a course to help people duplicate us and actually instructing them to take our examples, which is crazy. And it gets weird because they're actually taking our clients' testimonials and like listing them as their own with the people's names, which is very odd. But anyways, you do not want thin and duplicate content on your website. It's very, very bad. And I should make this the whole screen. It's very, very bad for your website, and it does not help Google respect your website. Just like stealing other people's work doesn't help people respect your agency or instructing people to do that. And this is just the feeling I've got at the moment, but I'm actually going to give you guys some very good info. This is what I would consider it's not a secret. Every single SEO guru out there will instruct you to do this, but it's one of those things that home service businesses don't necessarily know a ton about. And it's fairly easy and simple to do. It's going to be a pretty short video, I think. It's not super hard. So let's dive into it, and hopefully you guys get something out of this. I want to show you our progress on Johnny Appleseed Tree Service, which is a hypothetical company that we're doing for fun. Let's share screen. So this is what it looks like on the front end. We've been building this website together on a theme and doing SEO on it from scratch. If you go on our YouTube channel, there's a home service DIY SEO playlist that will allow you to watch the entire process of us building this and potentially getting it ranked. So let's look at our progress. This is all the progress we have so far on ranking it for stuff. But why is it moving slowly? It's been a couple months. Well, one of the things that holds back your rankings is thin and duplicate content, meaning things like, I'll show you that. Let's say landing pages or products or testimonials and things like that. Team may be ranking, or like not ranking, but it waters down your website, because let's say you had 15 people on your team and all of those are coming up as a post on Google. So each of those was coming up as a post, and Google's looking at it, and it's thin content. It's not valuable content. And so it's coming up, it's watering down the full site on Google. And so you want to get only the most useful content on your website as what's indexable on your website. So let me show you how to do that now. So I'm going to be using Rankmath SEO. However, Yoast SEO has a similar function, and every website that you have, like, one thing you could do is just delete those pages or unpublish those pages if you've got things out there. But obviously if it's testimonials or team, you're not going to do that. So let me show you how to do that without deleting them. We are going to delete some content on this thing on this live, because we have what I refer to as sample content from the theme that we uploaded, which is not the case if you ever work with Hook Agency. We don't use that. A lot of times this will be like, you'll see this if anyone accidentally didn't delete, there's lorem ipsum. Lorem ipsum is an example of like kind of sample content, right? All right. So we are in Rankmath SEO we're going to be in two spots, titles and meta and sitemap settings. So first, let's go to sitemap settings. And we're going to look at the items along the edge here. So posts, I think we want that included because we're going to be blogging, right? Pages, we definitely want that included in the sitemap. So this is like the sitemap is, if you click through to that, you can kind of see what this looks like. The sitemap is just this this section that tells us, this is a bunch of junk on here right now, right? So of course our website only has 5 keywords it's ranking for in the last couple of months. We got to get rid of all this stuff from the sitemap. So we're actually going to go through, and on these pages, we're going to actually de-index almost all of this or unpublish it. The reason I'm going to unpublish instead of delete some of them is because I kind of want the formats to be available to me. And in this case, since we uploaded sample content, there's a bunch of formats that I could use later. So we're going to unpublish rather than delete. But in this case, we want to include all the pages for now. Attachments, we're not going to include. Landing pages, I think we actually did this at the very beginning. I did a very light overview on not indexing thin or duplicate content. I got rid of that one. So that was kind of my initial one. If it was included, if it was an item that actually doesn't have a lot of content and there's no real, like we're not doing any e-commerce on this website. So in this case, product sitemap, we should definitely get rid of it. Layout is an example of a custom post type that's included for the back end. This gets a little complicated, but it's included for the back end, but it's not for homeowners or the users of the website, right? Portfolio, we're going to not include it. That's going to be fairly common unless you're doing a lot of, I want to include examples of sites. This would be great. Like for instance, I saw somebody talk about doing SEO, like doing essentially portfolio items. Let's say if you did a big roof or a church roof or something like that, you could use this function, a portfolio function or examples of work function. And then in that case, you would include it. In my case, I'm not going to be using that. Services, we definitely want to include that, right? Team, that would be an example of one where we don't want to include it in the sitemap. What this is talking about is sub items of team. It's not talking about that major index page for team. If you have an index page for team, when we're down to the post type level on sitemap settings, we are going to disinclude this because it's for each item. And I think I would also want to include this if HTML sitemap. I want to get rid of that too. And I think I need to make sure that that's the case for these as well. And disinclude HTML site. Oh, so this is just if this is included it here. If it's enabled. Oh no, I think we really need to get rid of that. Anything where we're not, let's click these. If anything where we're not, the HTML one as well. Let's see, services we want to include. I think we're not, yeah. Let's see, category sitemap, include in sitemap. This, I think I mentioned this at the beginning. If we were to, we don't want to include this if we don't have a lot of content in each one of these categories. And in our case, we're very new. Now, if I had hundreds and hundreds of posts, I may choose to include this. So this is one of those ones that you could change later. In general, I never include tags. So I am, you want to disinclude tags because tags it would just create way too many extra pages. And what it is it would create an extra, you're potentially like creating an extra page for every single tag that you make, which is just a way to organize posts. But often it's just too many of them. Just making sure that all of these are removed. And then we're going to save our settings. All right. So that's the first thing. That's the first half of this, is we're disincluding things from the sitemap that we don't, I guess the first third of this, because we're going to go get rid of some pages manually as well. So I saved the settings. Now I'm going to move on to titles and meta on Rankmath, but essentially wherever the index and no indexed tags are going to be in your particularly chosen SEO plugin. There's a number of other ones, all-in-one SEO, Yoast SEO. So for instance, post formats. This is actually a confusing one. I'm going to go down to a little bit more simple ones so I don't get confused in the middle of this. All right, so landing pages is an example. That's fairly common, or products. Okay, so if we don't have e-commerce, we want to click on product robots meta, and we want to no follow and no index this for sure. Because we don't care, we don't want products in our sitemap because we don't have products. So there's essentially, we want to go down each one of these things. It's kind of interesting that this theme was made for home services and they're still including products, which, you know, generally home service businesses are not going to have. Interesting though. All right, layouts. We're going to click that open and no index, no follow. Save changes. And anything along here, let's kind of talk through how I'm making these decisions. Is it something, a type of something that we want to include? Is it something that we're going to do a bunch of content under? If not, we want to get rid of it entirely. So for instance, I mentioned portfolio. I'm not planning on using that. So I would click this on and no index, no follow that. And save it. I do want to make sure that I am answering any questions if you guys have them. And if you don't, I understand this is a technical subject and some people are just going to not be interested, and that's fine. However, the people that are going to come back to this later and kind of go through these videos one by one, I want to make sure that I'm being useful to you and giving comprehensive information. So if you have any questions and you were perhaps following along, I would love to answer your questions and love to be of service. And in fact, if you're watching this later, I will try to answer your questions, let's say on YouTube. YouTube is a search platform. People are going to find this later. I'm just going to make sure I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing any questions. But if you answer, or if you ask questions below in the comments, I will try to answer them as well. All right. I think we're good. So I'm going to move on here. I'm just going to go through each one of these one by one. Make sure they're no index, no followed. Services, we would want to, for instance, we would want to make sure that's indexed, but by default, it's going to be indexed. So we're not going to worry about that. Team, we're going to open the meta. We're going to click no index, no follow. There are not that many absolutely crucial technical SEO points, and this is one of them. This is generally really important. Post. We definitely want, I think we do not want the categories, the category archives on here. If we had a lot of content, a lot of categories, we'd probably reconsider this. Tags, no index, no follow. Kind of a lot here, so it gets a little redundant, but it's worth the time because there's just not that much like absolutely crucial technical SEO stuff that we need to group archives, layouts. Yes, we want to no index, no follow these. Once again, layouts is like a back end category, which is, so it's kind of interesting that it's even being listed here, but custom calendar archives, we're going to no index, no follow because we're not using that. And once again, you're thinking critically each time you go through each of these. Am I going to be using this? And if the answer is no, am I going to be using this for content on the front end? And if the answer is no, you want to get rid of it. You want to no index, no follow, and get rid of it from the sitemap. Because the more stuff that you've got indexed and the more stuff in your sitemap, the less Google is paying attention, or there's less priority on the things that are important. Group archives, robots. In this case, this is a complicated one, but this one is referring, I believe, I think I might hold back actually from doing this one. I believe this is actually referring to the custom post type of services, which is confusing. So if there is some kind of question on whether it should be, maybe hold back. Like it is important to get rid of as much of this as possible, but you want to watch it because this is very powerful. If we're no indexing, no following something, we're saying, don't look at this, Google. So it's important to not do it for important stuff. So this is just like where having some experience helps, if I'm honest, but I want to try to help you guys do this if you're not working with us, but all right. So that's an example of no indexing, no following on the titles and meta section of Rankmath SEO. These are the two settings, sitemap settings and titles and meta is where you're going to be doing this. Okay. I'm also, I think I no index, no follow authors because we don't have a bunch of authors. And then we noticed how many pages were in that pages sitemap. So we need to actually go up one by one, or at least in bulk, and unpublish all of these. Okay, because they're all published and they're all taking up space in our crawl budget. And for a small business, you're usually not going to have so much content that Google is just not going to crawl things if you're actually getting crawled by their robots. But it is going to matter that you have thin duplicate content. Like if there's content on there, it's not real content. Like for instance, right now, let's see if I'm going to pull up a couple examples. So this is the one I'm going to use, but I could still unpublish it for now. But this is one I'm not going to use, so I need to unpublish it entirely, right? All right. I'm going to mute myself for a second while I cough. Yo, Kevin, what's up? Kevin says, I can see it. Oh, did I say, hey, can you see this? That's just a habit I've got. So before we go into the rest of this video, I'm just going to play a really brief thing and then we'll get back into it.
Job. Extremely happy. I have a salesperson that works 24/7.
We've worked with a lot of different agencies over the years, and I think we found, just like most people in this room probably, that they're extremely frustrating, really annoying. Tim and his company is just light years apart from anybody we've ever experienced.
All right, so now we're back into it. Final few steps for this is going to be looking at the pages that you've got up front and getting rid of all the ones that aren't real. So it's in our case, it's a lot. There's 38 pages, and we've really only built out like a couple, maybe the contact page. And we built out the home page. Let me just make sure that this is the right one. No, that's a different home page, I think. So there's some old stuff, right, from the theme that we got to just get rid of. And let's show this one more time. This is what we're talking about. All these extra pages, if you have a theme, are in your sitemap, and we need to get rid of them if you're using a commercial theme. So this is, I love themes for people that are super early, and I showed you how to set one up in earlier videos, but this is the thing, is like, obviously it's not good if the website is invisible, and it's more likely to be invisible if we're serving up 30 pages on the sitemap to Google, and Google doesn't know what's real and what's not. And if you're making Google confused about what's important, you're likely to show up much lower on their search engine. All right, so let's confuse them less by getting rid of all these pages. I just need to figure out where our real home page is and where our other real stuff is. All right. This is kind of what you're going to have to go through and do, right? I'm going to quick edit. You could always bring them back, but you might confuse things because it will remove them from the menu and stuff like that. So I'm going to do them a little bit. I'm going to pull some of these and get rid of some of these. Okay, so right now I'm going to unpublish these. So you can press edit and apply, and then I'm going to go status. I'm going to say draft. So now those are not going to be on the front end of the site anymore. The other thing you could do here is you could not, upload sample content, but it's just so much quicker to build a website with sample content if you're using a theme. So that's why I do it. All right, so this is not the one. So let's click all these again and unclick this. This is the actual front page right now. I think this is the current blog right now. Once again, I'm just trying to figure out is this thing unpublished? You can also just go to the page, press edit page, and then unpublish from there. So we could turn this private if we wanted to. In this case, I'm going to leave it because we're going to fill this thing out now or pretty soon. So I'm going to keep this one, which is About Us Handyman. Let me get rid of the rest of it. Edit. You press edit in this drop down and then apply, and then status draft. The only thing that I need back is the About Us Handyman page. So I could search that up and so this one I need to have. So we're putting back to published. So if you mess it up, you can go back and fix it. And then let's take a look. If this affected our menu, that's our work getting done for us. And if it's not, we have to get rid of this stuff out of the menu. So we don't want to be linking to pages that don't exist on the front end, right? So it depends on your theme. But what I will look for is hey, by the way, feel free to comment, like this video, and interact a little bit on these lives if you're in here. Interact, and I'll try to shout out your company if I see it, if I know what it is, or say it, and or ask questions. I just want to make this interactive. All right. So what we'll do is we'll go to the menu section first, depending on where the theme is. Usually this is it, or where it is in the theme. Appearance, menu. Menus. And then so if this is what we're working with, which it looks like what it is. So I'm going to look on the front end and make sure that this is the menu that we're seeing. Tips and ideas, commercial, all services. With all of this underneath it. Why hire us and about us. Okay, yep, so this is correct. So what I need to do essentially is get rid of all this stuff out of the menu so we're not linking to pages that are dead. So we're going to get rid of this and get rid of this. Basically, it's just editing the menu at this point. Open up, remove, open up, remove. I'm going to keep this because we're going to create the blog on there. Get rid of commercial, get rid of all services. Or if I did keep all services, I need to trim it down to just the ones that actually matter, right? So let's see. We'll get rid of these for now. And then I guess, and you know what, I'll show you how to do this too. Because we have a couple services built out, right? So then if we had these custom links under here, I might as well replace them right now and go on the front end and get the links for the services that we have. So this is service. Wait. These are the services. So I'm going to copy this link address. It's Eau Claire tree trimming service. Right? And then I've got on this, sorry, I'm putting it into, I'm copying the link. Tree removal. I could put the keyword in there since it's in a drop down. I could put the, and I might. It's kind of an aesthetic decision. And a little bit of, I mean, if it's linking all over the website with Eau Claire tree removal, it's more likely that Google's going to understand that's for that city. So it's kind of like if I had a really established brand and I didn't want to mess up the look and feel of the website, I might not do that. But in this particular case, we have nothing. We are new. So who cares? Eau Claire Tree Care. All right, so there you go. We've got all services now with the actual service pages linked. This Why Hire Us has we don't have real content on there, so we're going to remove it. About Us, we actually are just going to switch this one up to the main item since we don't have locations, or we're not going to use that for now. So Home, Tips, and About Us, all services. You could also, start putting in your locations there if you had location landing pages. All right, so we're going to save this. I don't know if somebody's commenting on here or no. All right. Alrighty then. So that's kind of that on the menu side. Let's go check out how that looks on the front end. We saved it, and then we're moving to the front end. Just to ooh, look, we have a real menu. How nice is that? Cool. This site is actually coming. Oh, that's ugly. Why is that like that? All right, let's. I think I just have to change one theme setting in this. Not that this is part of this particular tutorial, but I will go back and do it just in case any of you followed me all the way. I think it is under theme panel. And I just need to make the default all over the website the correct header. And then we're going to finish up this topic. Header Handyman is the default. All right. So then it's probably chosen specifically. So let's see if we can edit that. Edit service. Header Handyman. So I'm not going to do this for every page right now, but this is just another miscellaneous thing that you might have to go through with themes, is understanding there's a lot of little intricacies to the theme itself, and sometimes that's annoying. However, it worked. So there we go. Yay. And then there's some weird stuff over here that we should probably swap out. So I'm not going to do all that because I'm trying to stay focused on the main thing at hand, which is to de-index thin and duplicate content so you guys can follow the SEO portion of this with themes and key topics each time. Let me see. Lastly, the other thing I noticed that's under that topic is services. We need to get rid of all the services that we're not using because we do want all these indexed, but Most of these aren't real. So we're going to get rid of them by doing the exact same thing. I'm unchecking these ones, and we're not going to move to trash because we may want those. I mean, you could move to trash. In my case, I'm going to press edit, apply, and I'm going to say draft so that they exist and I could access the features and the formats of them for something if I wanted to. But in this case, I just want to have them around just in case I need them. So then I'm updating. Come on, update. Oh, there we go. All right, so these are all drafts except for the 3 that we had. And you basically could do that for each of the things that you want to keep some of them and keep them indexed. So notice that we did not de-index thin and duplicate. We did not de-index services because we're using some of them, but we took all the ones that weren't real and we either deleted them or turned them to draft so that we're not sitting out here with, let's see what this would have been if we're, so that we're not sitting out here advertising for postnatal caregiving and with lorem ipsum. And you guys have all seen the lorem ipsum on somebody's website before. This is how it happens. And it is so important, so important to de-index thin and duplicate content for SEO. Now, do I believe everyone watched through this? No. Do I believe a lot of people are probably super bored when I talk about this and that this is nerd stuff? Yes, I know that, but this is a crucial part of SEO, and so much of SEO is just the little things done correctly at scale. And it's also the easy things, the things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. And they can totally make your website basically lower on Google. Like they can really affect your Google ranking. This is one of those things. You need to de-index thin or duplicate content. It's absolutely crucial. Then once this is done and a few other key things on technical SEO, then you can focus on content, making more and better content that's keyword optimized, and links, which are my 2 favorite things, because this technical stuff is boring. And I understand we probably wouldn't have a ton of people interacting today. But if you have questions about this, comment below. You do need to de-index thin or duplicate content. I appreciate everyone. And I'll see you next time. Next time, we'll probably get back to one of the more fun topics of content or links. And I appreciate you guys. Have a good one. See you later.
Day one, it was just shockingly different.
They did such a great job.
Extremely happy.
I have a salesperson that works 24/7.
We've worked with a lot of different agencies over the years, and I think we found, just like most people in this room probably, that they're extremely frustrating, really annoying. Tim and his company is just light years apart from anybody we've ever experienced.
Better leave. Please. HookAgency.com. Smart contractors hire specialized team. Rank high on Google. Hook better leads. HookAgency.com.